come there's a world out there, and I of it have become aware. Nowhere in the cosmos do we find anything like the human mind. Though stars may waves radiate, thoughts from them don't emanate. Novas, stars like fish and trees don't seem to know our species. In the limitless stretch of space and time, only the human mind can think and rhyme.
Hello and welcome to Matter and Beyond. I'm your host, Laura Wells. Each week we explore different facets of the universe by sharing the achievements and ideas of scientists from diverse fields and backgrounds. We began the show with a poem by Varadaraja Raman, our distinguished guest this program. Dr. Raman is Emeritus Professor of Physics at Rochester Institute of Technology. He is not only a physicist, but also a philosopher, a scholar, and a poet. He is the author of numerous books and a popular speaker on science and religion. Well-versed in both Western and Eastern philosophies, and quite knowledgeable of many of the world's faiths, Dr. Raman is able to discuss a broad range of complex topics with rare clarity, depth, and sensitivity. An observant Hindu himself, Dr. Raman has devoted several years to the study and elucidation of Hindu culture and religion, helping many gain a better appreciation of this rich and ancient tradition. Importantly, all of his work, whether it's interpreting a hymn or predicting the orbits of subatomic particles, stems from a thirst to actively engage our world, a search for both concrete understanding and transcendent wonder capable of bringing one's own life and the lives of others lasting knowledge, satisfaction, and joy. His quest bridges continents and cultures, surveys the roots of civilizations, and probes the innermost reaches of the atom to discover in the center, underneath, and connecting all a beauty, a oneness, a truth. Please join us and our guest, Dr. Varadaraja Raman, as we explore his story and his vision and reflect upon science and spirituality, music, meditation, and more on this multidimensional episode of Matter and Beyond.
Of course, my father influenced me a lot in terms of developing a sympathetic, respectful, and an enlightened view of religion.
Dr. Varadaraja Raman's journey of discovery starts in his childhood. Born in India into a family of deep faith and moral conviction, he inherits a sympathetic, respectful, and enlightened approach to religion that guides him throughout his life. An intelligent, sensitive youth, Raman yearns to understand what makes the world and its people how they are. He turns to philosophy and literature for answers to some of his questions. Then, the avid young reader encounters a book that inspires him to embark on the path of science.
I was interested actually in philosophy and literature, but on my 16th birthday I got as a present the life of Madame Curie, and that book inspired me very much.
Marie Curie is one of the most prominent figures in the history of science. Her pioneering research into radioactivity continues to bear fruit today in applications ranging from power production to medicine.
I decided right away that even though I may do philosophy on my own, but I would study physics systematically.
Excited by the dream of becoming a great scientist, Varadaraja Raman graduates from the University of Calcutta with a degree in physics. His learning, however, extends well beyond the classroom. Cosmopolitan Kolkata's kaleidoscope of human activity is enough to enthrall a person for a lifetime. Raman, however, hungers to see more of the world. His thirst for knowledge leads him to Paris, France, Europe's cultural and intellectual capital, where he studies quantum mechanics with one of the legends of modern science, Duc de Broglie. Dr. Raman then crosses the Mediterranean to Africa and teaches at the Université d'Alger in Algeria. And finally, travels to the United States to join the physics department of the Rochester Institute of Technology in New York State, where he now resides as a professor emeritus. This odyssey through 4 continents worth of languages and cultures, customs and religion has granted Dr. Raman a rare glimpse into the essence of human nature.
What is essential is that when we interact with people on a personal basis, we find that all our divisions, all the things that separate us as groups somehow melt away. We forget as we interact that we come from different nations, religions, races and so on. There is a commonality that binds us all, and that is what I have often felt.
There are many ways to define human accomplishments. Some measure it by the accumulation of money or property. Others long for the attention and praise of celebrity. A scholar's greatest goal, for instance, might be to publish many acclaimed books or to gain tenure at a world-famous university. Those like Professor Varadaraja Raman, however, find their satisfaction in the pursuit of truth itself, in being able to grow and share in knowledge and experience with others.
Well, I have to say that I don't use that word accomplishment, because I think we all strive to do something, and I would say the satisfaction I have experienced from all of this is a little bit of joy or enlightenment or knowledge, perhaps, when I deal with students, what I have been able to do to open their minds. And I've always felt that this is very much reciprocal. I know I have been fortunate to give a lot to many people with whom I interact, and I have been even more fortunate in receiving many things from the people with whom I interact. So it is that is a kind of personal philosophy of life.
From a distance, philosophy and physics may seem completely unrelated. At closer approach, however, the two reveal a shared history and purpose. Many early scientists like Galileo, Boyle, and Newton were also known as natural philosophers, a term used in their times for those seeking to decipher the workings of the universe through objective observation. Thus, for an inquisitive mind eager for answers to certain questions about the world, physics can be a powerful tool.
The idea that just by knowing with what speed and in what angle you project a ball, you can theoretically calculate where it will fall and so on. That is the one that fascinated me most as far as physics is concerned. In other words, the mathematical formulation of physical phenomena.
Today, however, scientists no longer view the universe in the simple mechanistic models of the 19th century. Einstein, for instance, proved that two observers, depending on their relative motion, can arrive at different measurements of space and time. Quantum mechanics showed that on the level of the microcosm, or the world of tiny moving particles smaller than atoms, one can hope to speak of probabilities but never in certainties.
So, as a result, quantum mechanics is the part of physics that fascinated me most in what it has been able to reveal about the microcosm, of which we have absolutely no idea in the course of our everyday experiences.
Using chaos theory, scientists have postulated that minute changes in initial conditions can have unpredictably dramatic results. For instance, a butterfly suddenly lifting its wings could start a chain of events that produces a thunderstorm miles away. But what do these discoveries say about the limitations of science?
There is a reality, there is certainly the perceived reality of nature. That reality cannot be completely and precisely described, certain aspects of it especially. That is what is meant by that statement. it is not fair to say from a scientist's perspective, from a physicist's perspective, that this is an inadequacy of science. Quite the contrary, this is one of the achievements of science, because we have always been naively thinking that we can get an adequate and complete description of reality. Now we have discovered that it is beyond human faculties, and it is almost built into the nature of things.
Dr. Rahman believes that a large part of the problem stems from a demand to rationally prove every aspect of religion, even though the divine and the sacred experiences are beyond the confines of rational understanding in the first place.
So every God and every expression of God that we give in the great religions of the world are mappings, as it were, of something that is beyond words and expression. The problem arises from the time of St. Thomas of Aquinas, and he thought that every religious tenet or doctrine can be rationally demonstrated. He gave so many proofs for the existence of God and all that. I mean, I respect it because it is exciting in its own way, but my own religious views and experience and background tells me that there are many aspects of the human experience that are not subject to logic and reason, and if we try to do that, we will end up in all kinds of contradictions.
According to Dr. Rahman, one of the blessings of religion is that it reminds us we are multidimensional, that there is more than one kind of consciousness, more than one level of reality. Human beings are physical and spiritual creatures, capable of powerful, meaningful experiences beyond logic.
And when I go to a Hindu temple where I participate in the collective, what is called the bhajan, or the singing praises of the divine, in so many manifestations, in so many forms and names, it is, I derive great spiritual fulfillment from that exercise, just as I derive great fulfillment from doing a complex calculation in quantum mechanics.
Science and religion are both ways human beings draw meaning and fulfillment from the world. Dr. Rahman feels there is no reason why these two prisms of experience need to be at odds. To illustrate, he offers the example of music.
I like to give the comparison of compatibility between listening to music and doing science. Nobody argues about that. Music, the enjoyment of music, the aesthetic dimension of music has nothing to do with the logical analysis of the natural world.
For much of human history, religious institutions were often the only sources of learning. Since the advent of modern science, however, society now depends on highly specialized disciplines to effectively engage the natural world. The knowledge and expertise required in these contemporary fields is often immense. But science cannot answer all the important questions.
Science cannot answer questions as to why there is this universe, why there is this consciousness. I think if science tries to answer the question why, it will become ridiculous. Science cannot tell us what is right and what is wrong. It cannot guide us in our everyday life.
Dr. Raman acknowledges the benefits technology brings, but warns that unless society diligently works to maintain a balance between the efficiency of technology and the life-sustaining values and morals of religion, society could face disastrous consequences.
It is as if there is some ingrained law of nature which prevents human beings from reckless exploitation of nature. And this is a realization which has come to us only in the past 50 or so years, as you know, because before that there was a dream of scientists and technologists that technology would solve all the material problems of the world. But the dangers that technology now poses to human survival itself somehow tells us, indirectly perhaps, that there is more to human life than comfort and enjoyment. And even though we recognize the dangers of technology, we should never underestimate all the positive things that science and technology have done for human society, for humanity. There is a whole branch, as we know, of medical technology. Aside from the physical problems, there are other problems that confront humanity, and they are what we may call the moral problems, ethical, human related problems, psychological, spiritual, and those problems can never be solved in any significant and meaningful way by technology.
We have before us today, with our rapidly advancing science and technology, incredible opportunities for the betterment of humanity. Yet around the globe, great suffering continues. Millions are crippled by anxiety and depression. Many live in daily fear of hunger or violence, and the flames of prejudice and hatred consume hearts and minds everywhere. At the core of many problems, Dr. Raman believes, is a disconnection people feel between themselves and the world. One of the greatest gifts of religion is its capacity to awaken people spiritually to the reality of their essential connectedness.
Well, I think in a deeper sense, the spiritual awakening is when the individual human being recognizes that he or she is in some way connected to a larger whole, and what may be called the spiritual enlightenment, in my view, is this recognition of the interconnectedness of each of us with fellow human beings, perhaps with fellow creatures, and ultimately with the cosmos as a whole. Because every prayer in any religion is an effort to connect the individual with the cosmic.
Thank you for joining us in our conversation with physicist and philosopher Dr. Varadaraja Raman. We thank the professor for sharing his story as well as his views on science, spirituality, and society. Most of all, we honor his conviction that both science and religion, if seen in their best light and practiced in their best forms, can together help humanity reach lasting success and contentment. Please join us next time as we visit another scientist from another culture and another religion to explore another engaging topic on Matter and Beyond. We leave you with some closing remarks of Dr. Rahman.
Just as we have an experience of the universe, an experience which only human consciousness has, whether it is of the beauty or the splendor and all the magnificence and majesty, is there only in the human head, is only in human consciousness. If we take away humanity, there is no beauty, there is no color, there is no light in the universe.